It's so funny how it works and then it doesn't work, and now it's working again. So I'll cross my fingers that we actually go.
Last time the live got interrupted like 2 times.
Yeah.
On
All right, I
Wednesday.
think we're up. Rock.
We on?
Roll. I think we are on.
We are live.
Cool.
We'll do it live.
We are live. What's happening? What's up, Asphalt Lifers? How you doing, Asphalt Life community? We hope you guys are doing good. We're just getting a couple of settings here, ready to go, and then we will be starting our little pro chat. So bear with me 1 second. Speaker view, gallery view. How do I hide the? Oh, I don't want to do that. There we go. First minute of this live is going to be epically awful. I apologize, everyone. Hey, Claudette, where's the hide non-video? There we go. Okay. What's up? Josh Romano, Oklahoma, in
What's
the
up?
house. Facebook Live community, man. Getting to chat with one of the best, one of our Pro Force Elite 5-star award winners over here. Flex that Pro Force muscle for me, Josh.
Well, here we'll just. I thought it was out here. I was going to
What's
say.
going on with your arm? What's up with your left arm? Oh,
A little hard to flex. This
sorry.
this
See?
afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually did know that. I was just trying to, have a lead in to talking about your situation here. But anyway, Asphalt Life community, welcome. We're back after a little hiatus. No Pro Talk on Tuesday. But we're back here on Thursday. It's Friday Eve, one of my favorite days of the week, and joined by an amazing guy who I've learned a lot from, over the years, and recently, again, continues to sort of blow my mind with concepts and ideas that I think are really applicable. We're going to get into that, the farming versus hunting, which you redefined for me in a new way of renting versus owning. So I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah, it'd be great.
But we're unfortunately are not able to have our contractor friend on today. So who was supposed to join us, Josh? Let's at least give him a shout out because he's out working really hard. So who was supposed to join us?
Yeah, no, we were supposed to have Cade and Dusty from Precise, they're the owners of Precise Roofing, who's a platinum contractor of ours in Tulsa. But, we got some hail this week, which I don't think anybody's complaining about. And so those guys are out there, their phones are blowing up, and they were like, man, we're pretty covered up today, and harvest their arm and get them to get off the roofs and quit selling. So they're not going to be able to make it out on here today.
We're definitely sorry we couldn't spend some time with us on this, but we're happy that they're out selling, and we're happy they're out inspecting jobs, and that there was some weather activity, which is a great sign, all things considered, with everything that's happening in the economy and in the country right now. So if they got work, they got to go make hay while they can. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Go get it
shout
done.
out to the folks that have joined us already. Brian Pelletier, Brad, Eric, Fabian from Smart Choice Contractors. So that's awesome. Where we make it right. I love that, man. Thanks for joining us, guys. Make sure to shout us out in the chats, and we'll make sure that you guys are entered into our Asphalt Life prize pack giveaway. Josh, talk to me. What happened with the arm, man? Like, I didn't know you broke your arm until yesterday. What happened?
Yeah, with all this excessive work at the house on the computer. No, I'm kidding. What happened was,
it's really just carpal tunnel.
Yeah, it's just carpal tunnel. It's actually just a way to make my wife feel sorry for me during this. It's not a real injury. It's fake.
Yeah, that's
no,
true.
I wish. So during this quarantine or stay at home, our neighborhood, we've got a really cool green belt in our neighborhood. And so they've been having local food truck folks come by, and we've been keeping our social distancing, but families have been kind of setting up picnics and stuff. And the kids, their neighbor friend came over, and they had a longboard. And so Dad was like, hey, kids, let's show you how this works. And so I get going down on the longboard, and listen, I didn't stumble. I'm not clumsy or anything like that, but there was a bunch of cars, and I just decided to bail. The hard part is, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a pretty big guy. And when you get this amount of mass moving in one direction, and then you just suddenly stop, I jumped off the longboard, hit the pavement, and broke my well, it's not necessarily my elbow, but it's the bone that connects your elbow in your arm. It's the radial neck. So had a nice little break there. Good news is no surgery. I don't need a cast, so just a sling.
Yeah.
But my wife and the whole neighborhood saw it all happen, so that was rich.
Yes. And
but
she
yeah,
had
we're good to
she
go.
must have had the conversation, honey, you are an idiot. You're too old for this, right?
Well, the look said it all. She didn't need to have the conversation. It was very much okay. Well, this is going to be a fun evening. So,
well, if you've broken
yeah,
a
we're
bone,
good.
give us a shout out on your Facebook. So if anybody's broken a bone, you know it's no fun. I broke my foot last year doing nothing cool at all. Literally just stepping down from my house onto my deck, trying to set the table for dinner, and just twisted it and broke my foot. It is awful, right? It's
It
debilitating.
sucks. I'll say this though. Here was the worst than breaking the arm. Because I can't use my left arm. In the morning when I get up to brush my teeth, I've been grabbing the tube of toothpaste and opening it and giving it a good squirt on the toothbrush. Well, when it was Tuesday morning, I put it on there and I'm tired and I start brushing my teeth. And I realize as soon as I start brushing my teeth, I grabbed the wrong tube. And it was Benadryl cream that I had put on my toothbrush. And we're fully committed brushing
Mouth
my teeth
on
at this
fire,
point.
just
I mean, it was a very
God.
quick like, oh, we gotta. So yeah, needless to say, my wife's got some zingers for me on this one. So check the tube. That's all
Check
I'll
the
say.
tube. Although, that reminds me, I've been watching like nostalgic movies from things that I thought were funny, which I'm realizing now are not funny now as an adult. This was
funny how that happens.
It's the worst movie ever. But anyway, I watched the original Dennis the Menace with Christopher Lloyd with my kids the other day. And it reminds me of that scene where Dennis spills everything out and then he pours the toilet bowl cleaner in the mouthwash.
Yeah.
The mouthwash and the nasal spray. So anyway.
Well, this was labeled correctly, so yeah. I just didn't look.
Yeah, be careful, man. Well, hey, a couple more people joining us. Paul, hail happens, man. We're hoping for lots of hail, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Jeff is representing Alabama, and Lauren is joining us. Let's give a special shout out to Lauren Carlson, our marketing and communication manager. I hope you're feeling good. She actually had surgery last week and is on the mend to fix a couple of herniated discs. So, Lauren, we are so happy that you are watching live because that means you must be on the mend. Special shout out to my wife. She's watching upstairs. So what's up, Colleen? I got to give her a shout out. She got mad at me last time. So I love you. Come on down.
Hey, Colleen.
Well, hey, we're going to talk about a few things in our Pro Talk, Josh. Number one, I want to talk about the hail. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in Oklahoma. You guys are about to have what should amount to a really good year because of some hail in some areas that haven't really seen big hail in a while, which is why our friends from Precise couldn't jump on. But Tulsa got pretty hit. And then you guys had hail in OKC here as well. Are the storms real? Tell us a little bit about that. And then how are some of the contractors dealing with this surge of opportunity with the stay-at-home orders?
Yeah, no, the Oklahoma City is pretty scarce. There's some outlying areas in Oklahoma City that certainly got hit, but yeah, Tulsa hadn't had a really significant storm since 2008. So it's been, now 13 years almost. Well, no, 2008, 12 years. There we go. It's been, math is, we'll stick to roofing. But it's been 12 years since there's been a significant storm in Tulsa. And we've got great partnership with guys up in Tulsa, and they're telling me, that it's a pretty good one. And they got homeowners calling, and so they're certainly doing what they can. And I know that they're working with homeowners. They're doing all the things that we've talked about. They're keeping the distance. Some of the guys that are good with technology are using drones for inspections. Some of them are getting out and doing repairs, but for the most part, I've talked to guys, they're able to get out there and do what they need to do, and with little to no disruption. Certainly the unique thing is it's still kind of a door knocking market, and you still see a lot of that. So I think guys are really trying to respect some of the boundaries and aren't getting out there and doing some of that right now. But the phones are definitely ringing off the hook. So that's good for the contractors up there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, an Oklahoma company that you guys can turn to sort of find out some of the details on this storm is Hail Trace. So big shout
absolutely.
To, our buddy over there, Mr. Derek Klein. I'm going to share the screen and show their Facebook page. but Derek and his team over at Hail Trace have been live streaming these storms. They do an incredible job of trying to provide real-time information and accurate information. So, I love the fact that these guys are from Oklahoma and they got some good storm activity there in Tulsa as well, which they did a little hail forecast, and I don't know that they were predicting hail. So this is a good thing. Maybe not good for his forecasting skills, but very good for the state, obviously. But these guys are incredible at what they do in sort of storm reporting. So check them out. So shout out to our friends at Hail Trace. Josh, I want to show a picture of you and your family, and we're going to pivot a little bit here. We're going to kind of bounce back between business and personal. Man, you got a beautiful family. I'll say that. And you guys are you're in a great position to sort of talk about something that everybody's dealing with right now, which is having to sort of homeschool and help our kids out, sort of keep on track. And you guys have been homeschooling for a while. So give us your top, few tips for keeping a family on track, with schoolwork and also being home and working from home and everything that comes with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'll first and foremost say this. It's my wife's definitely the one that gets the credit for that. I'm not going to sit here and tout the homeschool there. She does a great job doing it. But yeah, several years ago, we made the decision to homeschool. And so it's been something that's a lot of fun for us because it kind of gives us the flexibility and freedom to travel and do some vacations in more of the downtime stuff. But beyond that, I think one of the best things that we figured out is when it comes to homeschooling is certainly you want to keep a schedule. I think that's best for anybody. I think in this time right now, it's probably not just in that regard, but in most things, it's good to keep the kiddos on a schedule. But on the other side, and I'll say this to any moms out there watching or dads out there watching that are homeschooling, hey, you're doing better than you think. I think the hardest part when it comes to homeschooling is we're our toughest critics. I think for most of us, if you want to be good at anything, you're probably going to be your toughest critic. But your kids are appreciative. They're learning. They're seeing mom and dad. And really, what we try to do, and I think what a lot of people are doing. I know a lot of guys, like I talked to Ryan Knipple and Brad Bellamy, who've got young kiddos, guys that are on my team. They're doing a great job, not just helping their kids with their schoolwork or whatnot, but hey, come out to the garage and let's do a project together, or let's do something else. So there's some real cool life application stuff that you can pick up, and we'll do cooking in the night, and Kristen and I will take turns cooking dinners with the kids and stuff. So it's a whole lot of fun. It's unique though. I'll say this, that we're used to it. What we're not used to is not being able to get a break from the monotony of staying at home, which everybody's dealing with right now. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about that, but we're excited to get back out and see some parks.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, people want to get out, and there's a little stir crazy happening. I think that's been the sentiment for several weeks now. But I think maintaining that schedule is really important. That's great advice. But also having that variability, right? Building out a list of things to do that are off of the regular schedule too. Like my son and I, we built out a list of, like I said, hey, let's come up with 10, 12 things you want to do. We'll try to spend 30 minutes a day knocking them out. We get to it most days, and a couple of days we don't because things get busy and out of control. But, we went over and played tennis for the first time. He's never been on a tennis court before at 12, because he's played baseball his whole life. Well, baseball season's canceled. We got these old dusty tennis rackets in the garage. So he's like, hey, let's go hit the ball around. And it was really fun and a total mess, So,
yeah, when you're used to cranking a baseball out, trying to get a tennis ball.
It, man. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So, well, good stuff.
Hard to do that for sure.
Well, hey, any of you Asphalt Lifers out there that want some more tips or tricks, you can look up Josh on Facebook. I'm sure he'll message you back and help you get through this homeschooling, or else he'll just plead the fifth and say it's all my wife. So it's fun. We enjoy it. So take full advantage of it. What we've told a lot of people is these are certainly unique times, but at the end of the day, you got to try to pull a silver lining out of something, and we're all getting to spend time with our families and our kiddos. And hopefully for all you guys, it's a lot more peaceful than it is chaotic, but control that and, take advantage of the time you get with your kiddos. That's for sure. Absolutely. Quick shout out to a few other people that joined us. Brad's coming to us from Texas as way to represent on the hail. We need some. Brian's here from Chicago. Jody joined. Anna Ellis from Chester County, PA in the house. And Stephanie is here. So great to see you guys. Thank you for jumping on to the live. So let's pivot, and I want to talk about a speech you gave at our national sales meeting, which really it was impactful for a lot of people, I think, and it's a really basic sort of principle and idea that has been talked about in a lot of different ways. I've always sort of thought about things from farming versus hunting, in terms of actually, and you got to do a little bit of both. But you presented something that a concept in terms of territory ownership, and you presented it at our national sales meeting, presenting to all your peers, managers, corporate people, and it was so thoughtful and so well done, Josh. And so I want to give you kudos for that. And it was the idea of, are you renting your territory or do you own your territory? And I think there's a lot of really important application for business owners, contractors, sales managers, or sales reps for contractors right now. If you are in a situation where there's more crisis, right? There's more change, there's more uncertainty than anything, it becomes really apparent sometimes sort of who the renters and the owners are. So
yeah, for sure.
A little bit, but also you get a great opportunity to take more ownership. You don't have to stay a renter forever, right? So I want you to talk a little bit to start, Josh, just about your concept and your idea behind renting versus owning as it relates to being in the sales profession. And, how is that applicable today as well? So yeah, fire away.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate the kind words. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you do definitely have, right now is an opportunity for sure to kind of harness what's going on and take advantage and own some things that you couldn't. And I think you said it best, is when you have moments like this and you have things that hit, it's kind of like sometimes the holidays, it's not necessarily that the holidays bring out the worst, but sometimes they highlight what's wrong with families. The same thing is true with this, right. Is it's not necessarily that things happen, it's not necessarily that they're, that this is bringing out the worst in people. It just, when you have chaos and when you have crisis, it brings out, I think, the ones that are out there renting, so to speak, for the subject we're talking about versus owning. And really the concept behind that is, if you think about real estate, you think about, most of us, I think on this call, we've probably rented before. I would say all of us probably have. And most of us either own or we have aspirations to own a house. And really, when you look at the two differences between kind of the concept of renting versus owning, when you're renting, you're not really long-term. There's a 12 to 24 month lease or something like that. At the end of the day, the end is in sight. Like, that I can get out of this if I need to. Sometimes you can break the lease or whatnot. So there's really no ownership in there, or it's short-term thinking rather than long-term. And then the other side of that is it's deferred responsibility. If something goes wrong, you get to call the landlord. You get to say, hey, something's wrong. The hot water heater went out. I need someone to come take care of it. And, if you compare that with owning is you're in it for the long haul. It's an investment. So you got to think about the fact that when you're done renting, what you've been spending and what you've been paying for it, you don't get to keep back. Now, again, you don't have the responsibility, but that's the difference between renting and owning. Owning is it's an investment, the time that we put into it, and we're thinking long term. So for all of us in the business world or whatnot, sales and specific to roofing, it's not necessarily a short road, it's a long road. And so it's trying to build the value and to do the things that's going to raise the value of us, just like we try to raise the value of our home. And then the other thing is, when you have stuff happen, you've got to take the ownership. You've got to take responsibility and say, hey, the buck stops here. No one's going to come fix this. Right. So I want to make sure that I fix it. And the challenge that I pose to our sales force, and the challenge that I would pose to anybody, is this: when we look at renting versus ownership, specific to our industry, and I would say this to all of us as roofing contractors, as distributors, as manufacturer reps, we have a responsibility to be owners rather than renters. Because if you think about your neighborhood, so if we think about the roofing community as a neighborhood, in your neighborhood, if you've got everybody owns it, great. Everybody's working to keep the value of the home up. Everybody's mowing the lawn. Everybody's checking the paint. But if we've got half of them that are renting, and we've got people that are driving through our neighborhood and they're looking to maybe buy a potential home or whatnot, right, most of the time, the folks that are renting, they're not taking care of the yard. They're not doing the necessary things to keep things up. Yeah. So for us in this industry and in our profession, we owe it to ourselves, our peers, and the industry to make sure that we're owning, so that when people come into our industry and they see it, they can see it for what it really is, and they can see the value that we certainly bring.
there's so many ways we can apply this to our lives and our profession, and there's so many analogies, right? So we could analogy this
Yeah.
to death as well. But I think if you view the investment that you're making in the relationships that you're building as an asset, right? If I approach that as transactional, right? Hey, I'm selling you a roof and I'm collecting that money and then I'm moving on down the road. It's going to be a transactional relationship,
Right.
and it's not going to bring you more value as a salesperson, right? But if we treat that relationship as an investment of time, okay, as opposed to just a check that I have to collect and move on down the road, that asset can work for you. It's part of your
For sure.
value, right? First of all, that person might get affected by a hailstorm again, and you want them to have a great experience with you. So they'll call you in 8 years when that next storm comes through. You want them to have a great experience with you so that they will refer you to their friends and their family, right? So I think this is really important in our space, is that the interactions and the relationships that we're building, whether, like you said, we're in distribution on the contracting side or on the manufacturing side, is paramount, because those relationships are part of our value as a person in our industry. And it directly relates to this idea of owning a home, right? We're putting value into our home, right? We're building the value of ourselves as that owner. So it's a fantastic concept that I would just challenge everybody that's listening to this to really take to heart, owning versus renting. And it applies right now. What are some things that you think people, whether they're selling roofs or whether they're an owner of a business that's trying to figure out how to navigate this, or a sales manager or an operations manager or a distribution sales rep, people in the industry that you interact with on a daily basis, Josh, give me a sense of what do you think they can do to be owning, quote unquote, owning their universe right now? How can this apply with everything that's happening around us?
Well, the unique thing about it is I think you can, to own it right now. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I said, when stuff like this happens, the unique thing is the people that are doing well, I think the people that don't have anything to worry about, who are people that had that mentality going into this. And so I hope that's for a lot of us, is that's the case, because it's really hard to kind of change yourself from a character perspective or from what you're used to doing when you're trying to change everything else about your business. And so I always tell guys this, really, at the end of the day, all these things create opportunity, and you don't want to, and let me, I guess, specify when I say that, because you want to be sensitive to the fact you don't want to be the guy that's out there looking for just every opportunity to go out and sell, and regardless of what it is. You have to be sensitive to certain factors. There's no doubt about it. But there certainly is opportunity. There's opportunity in this to pick up on some of the unique things that are changing in this time frame, whether it be all the oh my goodness, all the marketing stuff that we talk about, all the social stuff and the virtual stuff that we're talking about. But beyond that, there's no doubt that mistakes are going to be made in this season, probably at a greater capacity than they were when things are normal.
Right.
And so I think that there's a tendency when you can't necessarily see people face to face, or you feel a little bit more tension because things change. Man, now's a greater time as ever to own conflict and just approach it head on. And so that was a conversation we got into. Somebody, I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, conflict's never fun. And but a lot of times conflict or issues are what separates you from the competition. And you almost need that. You almost need those markers to where you can look back and go, yeah, hey, listen, everybody deals with that, but listen, this is how we've dealt with it in the past, or you've experienced how you've dealt with a mistake on our end or whatnot. Like, they're going to happen. We say we are. So I tell guys all the time, now more than ever, don't duck and run. Really get out and broach those things head on. And I think it makes a significant difference.
And people will make their own decisions about that, right? But if you handle things in a reasonable way, most likely most reasonable people are going to view that response and how you dealt with that
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's great advice. Yeah, there's a lot that we can be doing, and I think there's also that can be something that I think we go overboard with too. So also stick to your principles, stick to who you are, stick to how you got where you are, and be proud of that. And don't freak out, and really go out and, just start making pivots and adjustments. And quite frankly, we're hearing a lot of people are busy, but also be prepared for the reality though, that there's a cliff coming at some point. How steep that cliff is to be determined, and depending on the area you're in. Oklahoma with the hail in certain areas, that could carry you through a lot of this, for sure. But it was interesting. I was talking to one of our big distributor partners recently, and they made the comment that we're trying to get our people to prep for the hangover just the way you would experience hangover after a hurricane, right? Is that, yeah, it might seem okay right now, right? We're pivoting, we're having some success, but the business is going to go down, right? There's going to be a little bit of a downturn here. So we need to be prepared for that. Obviously, distribution's thinking about from an inventory perspective and things like that. But I think all of us need to mentally prepare for how do we operate in an environment over the next 6 months or 12 months or however long this lasts, where the economic uncertainty is going to be there and maybe the business is going to dip a little bit. So mentally preparing for that. But part of that preparation is having an owner's mentality. So I go back to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Josh, I want to point out one other thing here. We got 7 or 8 minutes left. Giving back in the community. So I'm going to share my screen again. We have been trying internally to do some cool stuff. Just trying to show, hey, we're trying to do our part and you could do your part too. So I'm giving a shout out to several of our Atlas Pro reps here, hopefully some of which are watching. So we got Dustin, Jody, Corey, Kathy, we got Josh, Brad, Scott, Stephanie, Ryan, Alex, Brian, and Alina. I think I got you all. So some messages of hope and happiness and, flatten the curve. Let's get out and do our part. But we're also coming to that point where there's some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, right? You're starting to see some states loosening restrictions. Again, we're not here to debate whether that's the right choice or the wrong choice, but there is going to come a time where we're going to be able to get back out, and in some areas sooner than later. But in the meantime, one of the things I saw that you were involved with was giving back in the community. So you and your wife got involved with this, and this got sent out as, Atlas team members in the community. Tell us a little bit about what you guys were doing in the community to help some senior citizens there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I tell you, this is, my wife we were watching the news one evening, and it was funny. It was one of those things where she saw this news story that there was at this Valor Health Center, that there are these seniors that they honestly they didn't have much of anything. And a lot of the support and the donorship that they normally would get had kind of faded, and they were saying, hey, we really, really need some help. And it was something that just kind of hit her, and she's like, hey, what can we do? And so we partnered up with a bunch of friends, and even our church got together, and we there was a food bank in Tulsa that was able to give us a bunch of stuff. And so I went up there one day with a truck, loaded everything up, and we had all the kids. We had like 260 cards because they have 260 residents, and they wrote nice notes to all the folks there and whatnot. And again, with them being at risk community, it's a little bit different than most of us, because I think a lot of us, we can still have some level of interaction. I mean, of course, socially distanced or whatnot, but they're in a community where literally they weren't able to go outside, they weren't able to gather, they weren't able to do things. Residents couldn't have family members and whatnot over. So you want to talk about isolation. That's a community right now that probably feels isolated more than ever. And so it was just an opportunity for us to give back and help out. And so through partnering with some people that are really good at what they're doing, we were just able to kind of be the hands and feet and the legwork of that. And so we were able to get that out to them, and it was cool. Got the kids involved. Kids loved it. They took cards, and really it was kind of a family project that we all took on, and we were happy to do it. It was really cool.
That's awesome, man. Well, somebody just commented, Alex just commented, appreciate you and your servant's heart. And I think that's exactly what it is. And we're seeing a lot of examples of that. And if you have an opportunity in your community, share it, talk about it, because I think one of the things that does is it gives other people an idea and a motivation and a bug that, hell, I could be doing that. I could be doing something. So I think that that's a really important thing, right? I don't think it's a fine line between promoting the good that we do, as a bad thing. I think it's really important to do that, because I think it's inspirational. It makes people think,
for sure,
It's very, very simple. Those are really practical things that you can get involved with. How can I reach out, right? How can I help people that are in at-risk communities like senior citizens in a way that maybe is that simple, right? I've seen these honking parties for people as well, right? Senior citizens, like grandparents, like we're gonna do a drive-by, sitting on the porch, and you drive by and do a wave, and even just FaceTiming, things like that, but certainly giving back. So appreciate your generosity and kindness. You're getting lots of hearts and love right now, Josh. So,
I don't disagree with you at all. I think that it's, you can be showy about it, and that's not what it's about. And that's certainly not what you want to do. We didn't even know the news was going to be there. So it was kind of like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? But I think you bring up a valid, hey, what's up? I think you bring a valid point from the standpoint of anything you can do that makes people smile and it makes a difference in folks' lives, that you can simply just share. And I love the idea of that going, hey, it's so much easier than what you think. And, I'll say this, here's a cool challenge. Take some time this weekend and just grab some cards or grab some paper and write 5 or 10 letters to folks that maybe probably aren't, maybe they lost their job, or maybe they're not able to work right now or whatnot. That's the kind of stuff that goes a long way, and it makes a big difference. So it doesn't have to be anything super, super grand. But it's cool to see, with all the stuff that there is to complain about, there's no doubt, it's really great to see people kind of coming together and doing great things. So it's awesome.
Paying that forward, passing that love around has an incredible, way of sort of multiplying. So I think when you can do that, that's exactly what we need right now, so I'm not going to sit here and say love will cure it all, man, but hey, it does help, man. It's helps take the edge off, and it helps bring some smiles. And I've been doing something recently, just over the last couple of days of, like trying to keep my kids motivated and excited about just different things that we're having to pivot and do at home. And I was pulling out a bunch of old pictures of my old Boy Scout, when I was my son's age, and going through that with him and getting nostalgic and trying to get him motivated to kind of keep on some of his merit badge requirements. But spread the joy, man. Laugh at yourself, and, have some fun. So, Josh, it's always awesome to talk to you. I miss you. I wish we could go out and have some sushi together, but we'll do that.
Yeah, buddy.
But it's good to see you, and it's good to see you still out doing some amazing things. So Josh is part of the Atlas line, the offensive line at Atlas. So he is a big dude. We got a bunch of great guys in the state of Texas and the state of Oklahoma.
A very trim offensive line, I might add. We're heavy, but we're fit.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fit.
Yes.
It's
fit.
Yeah. Not Leon Lett size, but we're good to go.
That's right. That's right. Well, great team out there. Great leadership in Al and Kevin, and you guys are doing some great things to keep your customer service. We're coming up on the 5 o'clock hour, so a couple quick shout outs to Anna, to Renee, to Teresa, and to Paul for jumping on at the end there as well. Our 2 Asphalt Life prize pack winners for this Thursday are Fabian Alfredo Vasquez and Anna Ellis. So congratulations to you, Fabian Alfredo, to you, Anna. And then give those guys over at Precise some high fives, virtual high fives for us, and tell them to go sell a bunch of roofs and close a bunch of deals with that awesome hailstorm in Tulsa. And man, Josh, any closing thoughts for the Asphalt Life community?
Nothing that I can think of. Can't wait to get out and see everybody again. And, hey, let's be smart about this and make sure everybody's doing it the right way. And that is all for me. So thanks for everything you're doing, Stan. This has been great.
All good, guys. Hey, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Atlas Pro Talk. We've got Jeremy from DreamWorks coming on tomorrow out of Georgia, and also joined by none other than Mr. Alex Dale. So we'll be excited to talk to those two tomorrow on Atlas Pro Talk to round out the week. And a special announcement, Tuesday's edition of Atlas Pro Talk next week is going to be with none other than Sherry Holmes. We are really excited. Sherry Holmes is going to be joining us on Tuesday. So you'll see the promotion going out this weekend about that. So we'll hear how life is going up there for the Holmes team and for Sherry and all the great things that they've got going on as well. So Josh, we'll see you soon, buddy. And thanks again for being on. All right.
Appreciate you, bud.